My mom is pregnant. I'm 26. My mom just called me to say she's pregnant. I'm 26 years old. Most people would say congratulations, right? But here's the thing. My dad has been dead for 5 years, and my mom, she hasn't left the house in 3. When I finally forced my way into her spare bedroom to find out who the lucky guy was, I didn't find a boyfriend. I found a mountain of evidence that my mother has been living a double life that makes my entire childhood look like a lie. Stay tuned, because what I discovered in that nursery changed everything I thought I knew about my family. Hey everyone. So, I'm coming to you today because I honestly don't know who else to talk to. My friends think this is hilarious, but for me, it feels like my entire world just did a backflip into a dumpster fire. My name is Maya. I am 26. I have a stable job in marketing, a tiny apartment that I pay way too much for, and a mother who, up until 3 months ago, I considered my absolute best friend. My mom, Sarah, is 48. She's one of those cool moms. She runs marathons. She wears better jeans than I do. And she's been single since my dad walked out when I was 10. We've always been a duo, a team. So when she called me and asked to meet for brunch at our favorite spot, I figured she just wanted to gossip about her latest dating app disaster. I was wrong. Dead wrong. We're sitting there. I'm halfway through a mimosa. And she looks at me with this face. You know the face. The one that says, I just crashed your car. Or, I accidentally deleted your favorite show. She reaches across the table, grabs my hand, and says, Maya, honey, I'm pregnant. I literally choked. I'm not exaggerating. I had to use a napkin to hide the fact that I almost sprayed orange juice across the table. I looked at her and said, Mom, it's not April Fool's. That's a terrible joke. But she didn't laugh. She just sat there, staring at me, with tears welling up in her eyes. Now look, I'm 26. I'm an adult. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-happiness. I'm pro-whatever makes you feel good. But hearing that your 48-year-old mother is expecting a baby when you're literally old enough to be that baby's parent, it does something to your brain. It's like a system error. Who? I asked. That was the only word I could get out. Who is the father? And that is where everything started to fall apart. She wouldn't tell me. She told me it was a brief fling. She told me the guy wasn't in the picture and that she was going to raise this baby on her own. She said she was excited for a second chance at motherhood. I wanted to be supportive. I really did. I told her I'd be there for her. I told her I'd help her pick out strollers and paint the nursery. But deep down, something felt off. My mom isn't the type to have brief flings with strangers. She's a serial monogamist. She's the type of woman who needs to know a guy's middle name and his credit score before she'll even share an appetizer. Over the next few weeks, the reality started to sink in. I'd go over to her house and see pregnancy books on the nightstand, prenatal vitamins in the kitchen, and little sonogram photos pinned to the fridge. It was surreal. I'm looking at this little bean on the screen, knowing that in a few months, I'm going to have a sibling who is 26 years younger than me. People at work started asking. My boss even made a joke about me being the one with baby brain because I was so distracted. I had to explain. No, actually, it's my mom. The looks on their faces? Priceless. But the comedy of the situation quickly turned into a thriller. My mom started acting weird. She was paranoid. Every time her phone buzzed, she'd jump. She started locking her phone, which she never used to do. We used to share passcodes for everything. And then there were the work meetings. My mom has worked in real estate for 20 years. She's successful, sure, but suddenly she was having emergency closings at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. It didn't add up. One night, I was staying over at her place because she'd been feeling really nauseous. Morning sickness at 48 is no joke. It looked like it was hitting her 10 times harder than it hits younger women. She had fallen asleep on the couch, and her phone started vibrating on the coffee table. It was a series of texts. I shouldn't have looked. I know, but the curiosity was killing me. The contact name was just an emoji, a single blue heart. The message read, I can't keep doing this. We need to tell them. The guilt is eating me alive. My heart dropped. Tell them? Tell who? And then another message popped up. Diane is starting to suspect something. She asked why I was at the pharmacy buying those specific vitamins for a friend. We're playing with fire. Diane. My Aunt Diane. My mom's younger sister. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Aunt Diane's husband is named Mark. Mark and my mom have always been close. They work in the same industry. They share the same circle of friends. But Mark? My Uncle Mark? The man who gave me my first bike? The man who has been married to my aunt for 15 years? I didn't wake her up. I couldn't. I just sat there in the dark, watching the blue light of her phone fade out. I felt like I was in a nightmare. I spent the next 4 days playing detective. I went through old family photos. I checked the dates of that real estate convention they both attended in Las Vegas back in June. June, which would make her exactly 5 months along now. The math was perfect. Too perfect. I remember that convention. I remember Aunt Diane being upset because she couldn't go. She had been dealing with another failed round of IVF and was too depressed to travel. So Mark went alone, and my mom went alone. I decided I needed to be sure. I didn't want to blow up my family over a hunch. So I did, something I'm not proud of. I followed Mark. I knew he had a site visit scheduled for a new listing. I sat in my car 3 blocks away, watching through sunglasses like some low-rent private investigator. And then, I saw her car. My mom's silver SUV pulled into the driveway of the empty house. Mark was already there. They didn't go inside. They stood by the garage. I saw him reach out and touch her stomach. It wasn't a friendly touch. It was intimate. It was a man touching the mother of his child. He leaned in and kissed her forehead. And my mom, she looked like she was breaking. She put her head on his chest, and they just stood there for a long time. I felt like I was going to throw up. I put my car in reverse and got out of there before they could see me. I drove straight to a park and sat on a bench, crying my eyes out. My mom, my best friend, was having an affair with her sister's husband. And not just an affair. A whole baby. Now you have to understand the family dynamic. My Aunt Diane is the sensitive one. She's struggled with infertility for over a decade. It's been the defining tragedy of her life. She's spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on treatments. And my mom was always the one holding her hand through the heartbreak. My mom was the one who told her, maybe it's just not meant to be, Diane. Maybe you're meant to be the best aunt in the world instead. The hypocrisy was staggering. Then came the Thanksgiving from hell. My grandmother Rose is the boss of the family. She's 82. She's sharp as a tack. And she's very, very traditional. She had been stewing over my mom's pregnancy for months. To her, a single woman getting pregnant is a stain on the family name. She had been demanding to know the father's identity since day one. We were all gathered at Diane's house. The irony was almost unbearable. There was the turkey, the stuffing, the fine china, and the 2 people who had committed the ultimate betrayal sitting right across from each other. Mark was acting extra helpful. He was carving the turkey, pouring wine, making jokes. But I could see the sweat on his upper lip. And my mom, she looked pale. She barely touched her food. Grandma Rose cleared her throat. The room went silent. Sarah, she said, her voice like cold steel. I've had enough of this mystery. You are nearly 6 months along. You are an old woman to be having a child. If you want this family support, if you want to remain in my house and my heart, you will tell us who this man is. Right now. Aunt Diane chimed in, trying to keep the peace. Mom, please. It's Thanksgiving. Sarah will tell us when she's ready. No, Grandma Rose snapped. She's had long enough. Is it someone we know? Is it a married man? Is that why you're hiding? I looked at Mark. He was staring intensely at his mashed potatoes. I looked at my mom. She was shaking. And then, The unthinkable happened. Aunt Diane stood up. She had a huge smile on her face. Actually, I have something to say. Maybe this will make everyone feel better. Maybe it's a sign that we're moving into a new chapter. She looked at Mark, then at my mom. I'm pregnant. We just found out. It's early, but the doctors say the heartbeat is strong. This is our miracle. The room erupted. Grandma Rose started crying and hugging Diane. My cousins were cheering. It was the miracle Diane had waited for her entire adult life. But I wasn't looking at Diane. I was looking at Mark. He had turned a sickly shade of gray. He looked like he was about to have a literal stroke. And my mom? She looked like she had been struck by lightning. The silence between the three of us, me, my mom, and Mark, was deafening. I couldn't handle it anymore. The lies, the double pregnancy, the fact that Mark had knocked up two sisters at the same time, it was too much for any human being to carry. Which one of you is going to tell her? I said. My voice was quiet, but it cut through the cheering like a chainsaw. Everyone stopped talking. Grandma Rose looked at me. Maya? What are you talking about? Ask Mark, I said, looking him dead in the eyes. Ask him about the real estate convention in June. Ask him why he was at a vacant listing with my mom 3 days ago. Ask him why he's touching her stomach when he thinks nobody is looking. Aunt Diane started laughing, a nervous, high-pitched laugh. Maya, sweetie, you've had too much wine. What a horrible thing to say. I haven't had a drop, I said. I turned to my mom. Mom, tell her before I do, because I won't let her raise a baby with a man like this without knowing the truth. My mom stood up. She didn't even look at Diane. She looked at the floor. It's true, she whispered. I've never seen a room change temperature so fast. It went from a warm family dinner to a walk-in freezer in 3 seconds. What did you say? Diane asked. Her voice was tiny. The father is Mark, my mom said, her voice getting louder, more desperate. It was an accident, Diane. We were lonely. We were drinking. It just happened. I never meant to hurt you. Aunt Diane didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just sat back down in her chair. She looked at Mark, who was currently trying to find an exit that didn't exist. Mark? She asked. He didn't say anything. He just nodded. And then, the explosion. Grandma Rose was the first to move. For an 82-year-old woman, she's surprisingly fast. She slapped Mark so hard the sound echoed off the dining room walls. Then she turned to my mom. You, she spat. You are no daughter of mine. To do this to your own sister? To take what she's wanted for 10 years and spit on it? My cousins were shouting. My Uncle Jerry was holding Mark by the collar. My mom was sobbing, trying to reach out to Diane. But Diane just recoiled like my mom was made of acid. Get out, Diane said. It was the coldest thing I've ever heard. Both of you, get out of my house, now. Mark tried to apologize. He tried to say he'd stay for the baby. Their baby. But Diane just pointed at the door. If you aren't gone in 10 seconds, I'm calling the police. I don't care about the baby. I don't care about you. Get out. I followed my mom out to her car. I didn't know what else to do. She was hysterical. She was hyperventilating. I had to drive her home. The weeks that followed were a blur of lawyers and silence. Diane followed through. She filed for divorce within 48 hours. She sold the house. She moved 3 towns over and changed her number. She told the rest of the family that if anyone spoke to my mother, they were dead to her too. Most of the family chose Diane. My mom's life as she knew it ended that night. She lost her sister. She lost her mother. She lost her friends. She spends her days sitting in the nursery she's built. It's all white and gray, very modern, very beautiful, and very, very lonely. She keeps trying to talk to me about it. She wants me to tell her it's okay. She wants me to say that love is complicated and that people make mistakes. But I can't. I'm 26. I'm supposed to be out at bars, meeting guys, worrying about my Instagram aesthetic. Instead, I'm the only person on earth who still talks to my mother. I bring her groceries. I take her to her doctor's appointments. I sit in the waiting room and watch other pregnant women with their husbands. And then I look at my mom, sitting there alone. Her belly growing with a child that is basically a walking catastrophe. And the baby? My future sibling? It's a boy. My mom found out last week. She called me, crying with joy. And I just felt nothing. Just a deep, hollow pit in my stomach. I keep thinking about Diane's baby, my other future sibling, or is it my cousin? I don't even know what the terminology is anymore. That baby is going to grow up without a father. Diane has already made it clear that Mark's name will not be on the birth certificate. She's going to raise it as a single mom, and she's going to tell that child that its father is dead. And she's not wrong. To her, Mark is dead. I saw Mark once, a few days ago. He was at a local coffee shop. He looked terrible. He'd lost weight. His hair was a mess. He looked like a man who had lost everything. And he has. He's living in a studio apartment. He's being sued for half of everything he owns. And his reputation in the real estate world is completely trashed. Word travels fast in our town. Nobody wants to work with the guy who knocked up his sister-in-law. He tried to talk to me. He said, "Maya, how is she? How is the baby?" I just looked at him. I didn't even stop walking. I just said, "Which one?" The look on his face? That's going to stay with me for a long time. I'm struggling, guys. I really am. I feel like I'm mourning a family that is still alive. I miss our Sunday dinners. I miss my Aunt Diane's laugh. I even miss Grandma Rose's constant nagging. Now, everything is fractured. Everything is broken. I look at my mom, and I see a woman who is so desperate for a second chance at being a mom, so desperate to feel young and wanted, that she burned down the entire forest to keep herself warm for a night. I'm going to stay for the baby. I've made that decision. When that little boy is born, I'll be the one in the delivery room. I'll be the one who holds him first. I'll be the one who makes sure he knows he's loved, even if his very existence is a reminder of the worst thing his parents ever did. But I don't think I'll ever look at my mom the same way again. The best friend I thought I had? She's gone. In her place is a woman I don't really recognize. A woman who chose a few moments of passion over a lifetime of family loyalty. It's a heavy burden for a 26-year-old. I feel like I've aged 10 years in the last 3 months. I find myself looking at my own life, my own relationships, with this new sense of cynicism. If your own mother can do that to her own sister, who can you really trust? I'm trying to find the silver lining. Maybe this baby will be the thing that eventually brings them back together. Maybe in 5, 10, 20 years, Diane and Sarah will sit on a park bench while their kids play together. But then I remember Diane's face at Thanksgiving, the way she looked at the man she loved and the sister she trusted. Yeah, I don't think that park bench is happening anytime soon. So, that's my life. That's my update. I'm 26. I'm about to be a sister. And I'm currently the only bridge left in a family that's been blown to pieces. If you're out there, and you're thinking about taking a risk, thinking about doing something just once because you think you can get away with it, please, think about the people you're going to leave in the wreckage. Because some things, some betrayals, they don't just hurt for a little while. They change the DNA of your entire life. Anyway, I have to go. My mom just texted. She needs more ginger ale and she's having contractions that are probably just Braxton Hicks. But she's panicking. Duty calls. Thanks for letting me vent. It helps. It really does. Wow. Okay, I think I need a drink after telling that one. What do you guys think? Did my mom go too far by telling the truth at Thanksgiving? Or should she have kept that secret forever? Do you think Aunt Diane will ever be able to look at her miracle baby without seeing Mark's betrayal? Let me know in the comments. I'll be reading the M. And if you enjoyed this story, or if you just feel bad for Maya being caught in the middle, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Don't forget to share this video with that one friend who loves family drama. And subscribe for more crazy stories.